So Moses Itauma has just come out and blown Dillian Whyte away in a manner which I don't think anyone really expected. I thought that Itauma would win that fight via a knockout, sort of between rounds 3 to 5, if I'm completely honest. But I thought Whyte's experience would be able to give him slight problems. But Itauma is just so impressive. I mean, for a 20-year-old kid, really, he is just so wise beyond his years in regards to his boxing. I'm always so impressed when I watched Moses Itauma because he is not only such a great front-footed fighter on a technical basis. I say great, maybe that's a little bit over the top right now, but on a technical front, when you're watching someone and analysing a prospect, he just has so much poise and calmness. He always keeps his distance, sets the shots up with feints. He doesn't just go out and charge you and blow you away. He just picks you apart within a minute. You know, the Dempsey-McKean fight, the feint to set the left hand up. The Dillian Whyte fight, the jab just before the body shot, the level changes. And it's because he keeps his distance so well that he very rarely gets hit clean. And the feints, like I said in the video that I made, he's luring you in, you charge in, and like we saw against Balogun, he catches you whilst he's on the back foot. His power is phenomenal, his balance is immaculate, and I think he's looking like the real deal. I think it's worth noting that, you know, whilst Dillian Whyte had never been blown away like that, he was 37. He wasn't on the greatest run of form. I know he was on the wins, but he wasn't looking like a revitalised Dillian Whyte. However, with Dempsey-McKean taking Hrgovic 11 rounds too, you have to take notice and respect the way Itauma's blowing these guys away. Now, what is next for him? I mean, I think nowadays there's so much sensationalising everything that's in the heavyweight division. You know, with Usyk, people saying he's the greatest heavyweight ever, and Itauma is like, oh, he's going to be the man to beat Usyk next. That's the fight that needs to happen. I think people just need to calm down a little bit on everything. I think Itauma versus Usyk is a really intriguing fight. Maybe a year down the line, if Usyk still wants to fight. But right now, Itauma is only 20. Although he looked incredible, as he always has, as he has in his last few fights, I say, he's had a few performances in which people criticised him. We didn't really learn much from that fight yesterday. Dillian Whyte wasn't able to offer anything because he was just overwhelmed so quickly. So lots of people are kind of going for Itauma versus Usyk next because Usyk really should be fighting Parker next. Parker's earned that shot. Parker's a former champion. He's been on a hell of a run of form. I think he got a bit stitched up in that Daniel Dubois fight, if I'm honest, falling through. And I think he's earned that shot. And if I'm honest, I personally think, and I think everyone else personally thinks, that Usyk will comfortably beat Parker. But you have to earn that title shot. You can also put Agit Kabayel in that bracket too. I actually think Agit Kabayel is the fight right now to make for Usyk. It's not the biggest name, but I think that body attack, the constant pressure, that just will give Usyk more problems than Parker. So I think Usyk's next two opponents, or next opponent, let's say, because he's talking about retirement, should be between those two. I personally think rushing Itauma in right now, just because the hype of the fight, would be a bad thing for his career. As such, I mean, listen, he might go out and beat Usyk. I mean, he certainly looks like he can, and I think it's a timing thing. You know, in a year or two down the line, it would be a very competitive, intriguing fight. But at 20, with just a handful of fights and a few blowouts against guys that are nowhere near that world level right now, I think it's a rush. And there really is no rushing Itauma. There's no need to rush him. People are talking about Mike Tyson's record, which he's not going to beat that now. It's too late. But, you know, you got to remember that Mike Tyson was phenomenal for his time, as Itauma is looking. But he beat Trevor Berbick for that title, not Alexander Usyk. Ultimately, he went and cleaned the division over the following years. But to win that initial title, to break that record, it was Trevor Berbick, who's a good fighter, but one of the more beatable champions. So there really is no rush. I think another step up, not only to get that top level experience to go in with someone like Usyk, if Usyk is still going to be around, or if that's the fight that people are talking about next, you'll need top level experience, because Usyk isn't just someone you're going to blow away. He's going to take you to deep waters, and you're going to be tested over a long distance of time, which Itauma hasn't been as a professional yet. So he would need to fight someone that's going to give him a bit of a test, a step up, to one, earn the opportunity for the title over a Kabayel or a Parker, and 2, give him that valuable experience and just keep learning as he's going. As I say, he's only 20 years old. So I think Filip Hrgović could be a perfect guy for that. Hrgović isn't shot. He's got a phenomenal chin, so we'll really see that power tested. And he's been in with the likes of Zhang, Dubois, and of course he's coming off of a few good victories too, and he's ranked. You've also got someone like Martin Bakole, similarly, a bit of an unknown quantity at the moment in regards to how good he is. He looked phenomenal against Jared Anderson, took the Joseph Parker fight on short notice and got blown away. And then his recent fight didn't look that good, so that could be a fight in which Itauma could really push himself up the rankings. Or you've got guys like Justice Hooney. You know, that's a really good fight to make. I mean, both guys are up and coming. Both guys are athletic, powerful. I mean, that would be a great fight, firstly. But I think there are other fights to make for Itauma before you put him in the Alexander Usyk talks, if I'm completely honest. And when we actually bring this to Usyk, I mean, Usyk is talking about retiring after his next fight, which he's more than earned. I mean, the fact he's already cleared out the best names in the division and at cruiserweight too, going undisputed in 2 divisions. But I actually think that Usyk is in a perfect position to cement himself as a true greatest of all time. Now, I think he's an all-time great, but I think people don't quite understand the depth of boxing history when they rank him top 10 pound for pound of all time. You know, those guys conquered multiple divisions and stayed on top of divisions well beyond their time. Usyk has conquered 2 divisions and has dominated. But you get that real, you know, top 20 pound for pound all-time great, top 5 all-time heavyweight great from dominating your division. And whilst he has beat 3 of the top guys, beating 3 more of the most dangerous threats, whilst he's still on top of the game, in Parker, potentially Caballero after, and then Moses Itauma. I think if he was to do that, especially at his age, after what he's done, is when you can start putting Usyk in the top 5 or maybe even the top 3 greatest heavyweight champions of all time. I personally right now have him between 10 and 15. I think his is similar to Ezra Charles in his length of run, the fact that he's come up and the quality of opposition that he's faced. However, I think if he does retire after his next fight, it takes nothing away from his legacy. But I just think if he was able to do that, it would just put him in a bracket of very, very, very rare fighters professionally, especially at heavyweight. But if he does retire, the belts will fragment, and then Itauma will probably be in a great position to win 1, 2, 3, or maybe all of the belts over a sort of period of time over the next 2-3 years. So I think whether Usyk does fight and beat Joseph Parker or whoever he fights next, and then does stay on and is offered a crazy purse to fight Moses Itauma in the passing of the torch fight, I think it makes more sense for Itauma to fight him in a year or 2, or to wait a year or 2 for the belts to fragment and then become heavyweight champion. I think there's no need to rush. Just, he's still gonna fight for it at an extremely young age. But yeah, I'm very impressed. I think he is the most intriguing fight for Alexander Usyk in a year or so. I think right now it's just a bit too many unknowns. But I think that, yeah, I don't know. I could see Usyk having this next fight and then being sort of tempted into the greatness legacy definer. Although he's already done that, but you know, I mean, imagine if he was to take that fight and win it, and Itauma goes on to be a great. Who knows? But he looks phenomenal. I would like to see him in with one of the top 10 guys, or just bordering next at heavyweight, and just see him develop. But all in all, I think this kid is sensational. Southpaw as well, like fighting these southpaw heavyweight champions are becoming so common these days. But yeah, let me know what you think about Moses Itauma, who you want him to fight next, whether you think he will potentially fight Usyk down the line, or whether the belts will fragment after Usyk retires, and what you thought of his recent performances against Dillian Whyte, Dempsey McKean, and his trajectory to, you know, on his way to the top. Let me know what you think, and thank you very much.